The life and sad ending of Vince Neil. Vince Neil was born in Hollywood, California on February 8, 1961. During the 1960s, his family moved around in Southern California, first moving to Inglewood and then to Watts, before finally settling in Glendora. There, Neil attended the Sunflower Intermediate School, and then the nearby Royal Oak High School in Covina, where he met Tommy Lee. Apart from having a keen interest in music, as a teenager, Neil also enjoyed basketball, football, baseball, surfing, and wrestling. However, music was his first love, and he began playing and singing with school bands and buddy bands at the age of 14 or 15. He joined Rock Candy when he was just 17 years old. He had just turned 18 when he joined Mötley Crüe. He married his first wife later that year. Neil was arrested for the first time, not considering the teenage misdemeanors, in December 1984, and was found guilty of vehicular manslaughter, having caused the death of Hanoi drummer Nicholas Dingley, aka Razzle, in a car crash. Neil was involved in a serious alcohol-related car accident in Redondo Beach, California. The singer, who was driving drunk, skidded into an oncoming car, killing his passenger, Hanoi Rocks drummer Nicholas Razzle Dingley, and seriously injuring the two passengers in the other vehicle. Neil avoided prison and was sent to a drug and alcohol rehabilitation clinic and ordered to pay damages to the victims. Neil spent 15 days in jail and was on probation for 5 years, did 200 hours of community service, and paid $2.6 million in restitution to the victims of the crash. Neil was the lead singer of Mötley Crüe throughout the 1980s. During this time, the band released its first album, Too Fast for Love. This was followed by a long streak of successful album releases. 1983's Shout at the Devil, which established Mötley Crüe as a big stage band. 1985's Theater of Pain, which Neil dedicated to his victim, Razzle. The 1987 smash hit Girls, 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 and 1989's Dr. Feelgood, their highest-selling album ever. This long string of highly successful album releases established Neil as the frontman of one of the biggest hard rock bands of the 1980s. However, following the release of the band's 10-year retrospective, Decade of Dependence, 81 to 91, which was their first compilation album, Neil quit Mötley Crüe in February 1992. After leaving Mötley Crüe, Neil focused on his solo career and released his first ever solo album, Exposed, in 1993. Which hit the Billboard chart at number 13. Neil later toured for promoting the album, opening the Van Halen tour of 1994. In September 1995, Neil released his second solo effort, Carved in Stone, an edgy industrial album. Its release was delayed when Neil dealt with a family crisis. His daughter, Skylar, had fallen gravely ill. Carved in Stone reached number 139 on the Billboard chart and sold less than 100,000 copies. Although Neil rejoined Mötley Crüe in 1997, he continued to pursue individual opportunities and released his third solo album, Tattoos and Tequila, in 2010. He had already released Live at the Whiskey, One Night Only, a live recording of him singing a variety of Mötley Crüe backtracks, in 2003. Tattoos and Tequila was the soundtrack to the autobiographical book Neil launched the same year. The book was named Tattoos and Tequila, To Hell and Back, with one of rock's most notorious frontmen. Each song of the album was based on a chapter in the book. Neil rejoined Mötley Crüe in 1997. Later that year, the band released its seventh studio album, Generation Swine, followed by New Tattoo in 2000, the compilation album Red, White, and Crüe in 2005, and the last album featuring Neil and the other three original band members, Saints of Los Angeles, in 2008. Following Mötley Crüe's The Final Tour of 2014 and 2015, Neil announced that the band had reformed again and had plans to release new music. Neil has also ventured into a wide variety of business ventures. He has launched his own clubs and shops. He has his own tattoo parlor, Vince Neil Inc., in Las Vegas. He has also been associated with several wineries and has even introduced his own brand of tequila, Tres Rios. Neil also owns shares in various clubs, eateries, and football teams, but none of these interests seem to have lasted long. He has also appeared in a few cameo roles on TV, and has been featured in movies such as Police Academy 6: City Under Siege. In April 1987, Neil married Charisse Rudell. They divorced in 1993. In early 1993, Neil began dating actor and former Playboy playmate Heidi Mark. The two were engaged within 2 months, but did not get married until 2000. However, after only 15 months of marriage, the couple divorced in 2001, quoting irreconcilable differences. Neil married his fourth wife, Leah Giardini, in January 2005. In 2010, Neil announced their separation. Neil had one child, his daughter, Skylar, from his marriage to Charisse Rudell. Unfortunately, Skylar was diagnosed with cancer while Neil was recording his album, Carved in Stone. She died on August 15, 1995. He founded the Skylar Neil Memorial Fund in her memory. The organization raises awareness and gathers funds for various children's illnesses. I think Neil could have been swollen from all the alcohol he consumes. Before my husband died from drinking, he just blew up like a balloon. Started out looking like Vince does now, and he was 45 when he did that. His depression after his daughter died probably led to it. I don't give a damn about his weight, but his vocals have declined to the point of being worse than the average singer. And he's a pro, and just adds shame to the legacy of Mötley Crüe with his more recent performances. I can't understand how he manages to perform on stage and keep going with that awful voice. Being a Mötley Crüe fan since they existed, as I grew up in the 80s, when you are young, good-looking, exposed to millions of dollars, fame, drugs, everything is in access. At your beck and call, you have to wonder why things spiraled out of control. Money, unfortunately, is the root of all evil. We all make mistakes in life. Whether we learn from them or not is different for everyone. When marrying a rock star or anyone very famous, you are taking a huge risk in competing with beautiful women, and Mötley Crüe is no strangers for the love of women, sex, alcohol, and drugs. I've always admired them despite everything they've been through. In my opinion, it made them more mature and grow on so many different levels. Vince Neil may be suffering from anger issues due to his daughter's tragic death, and a mixture of drugs and alcohol has been the only way for him to cope with it. I am sure he has a huge heart, but doesn't like to expose it unless he is cornered to do that. That's the impression I get. Drugs and alcohol can obviously change your cognitive abilities as well, cause brain damage, and unless you want to stop and change your life pattern, nothing will happen. Just because Vince Neil did very little time in jail, or was abusive to people, doesn't change the fact that maybe he does suffer mentally behind closed doors in his own personal life, with grieving, regret, and depression. It's how we react. It is what changes lives. Society is quick to judge everyone, but we all have our demons, and we all handle it in our own way, whether it's right or wrong. Some people can't face the hurt of grieving and anger, so diluting it with excess drugs and alcohol is the only way. Vince Neil also lost his mother as well, which I'm sure there are things we don't know about his personal relationships with his family. I believe he's a good soul despite whether he verbally says I'm sorry to people or not. He self-destructed as a punishment to himself because of all his demons, as well as other members of the band. The movie, The Dirt, as well as the books they wrote, clearly explained their lifestyle and why they are the way they are. It doesn't make it right. However, they are still blessed by God, and I'm sure they are living and learning every day like everyone else in this world. And because of all the publicity, fame, and cameras in your face 24/7, that would make anyone crazy, in my opinion. But that's a chance you are taking, becoming one of the greatest rock bands in the 80s. Thank you for watching all our videos.